Welcome to the Times Are Changing podcast. My name is Chase. I'm joined here with Zach. We are the COO and CEO of Golden Aspect. This is a podcast about cutting-edge strategies in digital and social media marketing.
In today's episode, we discuss the importance of testing multiple creatives for Facebook ads and the value of continuing to test during COVID-19. Without any further ado, let's jump right in.
Let's jump right in to Facebook ad creatives. Now, Facebook ads are a very, very complex thing, and there's a lot of different components that can affect the performance of your ads, but the biggest one and the most important to not overlook is the importance of your Facebook ad creative. So when we say creative, we mean basically whether it's photos or videos or slideshows or carousels. Facebook offers a wide array of different creative options, and this is what people actually see when you run an ad. And obviously, because it's the visual element of it, it's what people actually see in the ad. It's arguably one of the most important pieces and something that often goes more overlooked than you'd think. So in this episode, we really want to break down the importance of these and offer some tips as to how you can best take advantage of Facebook ad creative and make the best possible photos and videos that you can with the budget that you might have.
So typically when people talk about Facebook ads, you hear a lot of stuff about the targeting options that you have with Facebook, the placements, custom audiences, lookalike audiences, all that kind of stuff. And that is really cool and really unique to Facebook, and all of that is super important to running a profitable Facebook ads campaign. However, like Chase said, a lot of times people tend to overlook the creative, what people are actually seeing when it's popping up in their feed. You can have an amazing product target the perfect audience, but if the ad that people are actually seeing popping up in their Instagram and Facebook feeds isn't compelling, they're not going to convert. So when it does actually come time for you to be choosing your creative for your Facebook ads campaigns, it's really important that you choose stuff that is actually going to convert. So we've talked about this in previous episodes of the podcast over and over and over again. Video is 9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10, the best way to go when it comes down to Facebook ad creative. Videos just generally tend to convert more. However, there is one sort of downside to that advantage of videos, and that is that they can be really difficult, time-consuming, and expensive to produce at a quality that is actually going to drive really profitable campaigns.
Not to mention they should be done professionally, because a bad video is going to have your ads perform very poorly. So a good video will definitely outperform a photo, but it is important to make sure that if you are running any videos, they are obviously of high quality, because a low quality video will just make your product or service come off as low quality as well.
And luckily, Facebook does offer a variety of tools to help you in that department of creating videos or even photos that look professional, that are really high quality, and can be used reliably to drive profitable campaigns through Facebook. So some of the options that are available directly through the Facebook Ads Manager, while you're creating an ad and you're selecting your creative, let's say you don't have a video but you want to create one. If you have a bunch of different photos of your products, you can actually upload all those different photos from directly within the Ads Manager and create a slideshow video out of all of those different photos. If they're really high quality photos, perhaps just product photos, sometimes these can be really compelling ads.
On that note, I would say that one of the best ad creatives we've seen with this sort of slideshow technique has been, like, if you'd imagine a sneaker with a bunch of different color options. We've seen a lot of these on Instagram recently. They seem to be doing pretty well. Is basically just switching the photo and the background. So switching the color of the shoe and also the background, but keeping the text and the placement exactly the same. So if you can imagine, it just quickly flips between colors and different color options on the shoe as well. And this is a really cool way to sort of give off the feel of a video, but it's actually just a slideshow. And it's also very attention grabbing if there's a bunch of different colors that are changing on the screen pretty rapidly. This is a really good example of how to use a slideshow in a pretty compelling way that we've seen recently done with a lot of different brands.
If you really want to focus on showing off your specific products, you also have the option to upload your product inventory to Facebook directly. From there, you're able to create what are called carousel ads, which basically look like a carousel of your actual products with the actual product photos with pricing and accurate product descriptions that people can scroll throughout their feeds. So there's a lot of different options from directly within the Facebook Ads Manager to take advantage of stuff that you might already have lying around to create compelling Facebook ad creative. If you want to get even more creative with what your ads are going to look like in an easy way, Facebook also gives you access to their mobile studio. You can access this just by Googling Facebook Mobile Studio. Basically, the mobile studio is a dashboard of different short courses, instructional programs, applications, and basically just a fantastic place to go to if you want to learn how to easily turn photos into videos, do basic graphic design elements, include text and graphics in ways that are going to make sense and look good and professional, edit videos, remix existing videos, anything that you might have. The Facebook Mobile Studio is a fantastic place to go if you want to learn how to create really compelling Facebook ad creatives with little to no resources or stuff that you might already have on hand.
Especially if you're a business owner and you don't have a marketing team, this is a great option in terms of getting started with Facebook ads. If you're doing the vast majority of it yourself, or you have to provide the ad creative to some sort of agency, this is a great place to start. It will help you create some stuff that's probably of better quality than you might be able to figure out on your own elsewhere. Another note on this is when you are creating these ad creatives, it's really important to be careful and very, very intentional with your use of text and graphics. We've seen this time and time again. If you put too much text and it's too distracting, it's going to make your ad perform very poorly. Facebook will sometimes even reject your ad if it has too much text on it. That's not to say that you shouldn't include text. Including branding materials and really important things such as pricing can sometimes be a very useful ad, but something less than 20%, ensuring less than 20% of your actual ad is text is a good general rule. So that means that, maybe at most 2 to 3 things of text or graphics for a photo. And then similarly in a video, you're only going to want to have 2 or 3 elements up at most at a time. But it is very important to use these intentionally because they can be very visually appealing and add a lot to your creative, but make sure that they're done in a very intentional and clean looking way. Otherwise, Facebook's probably going to reject your ad and it's not going to perform as well as it could without it.
A couple other tips just to watch out for. We've talked about this before, but make sure if you're planning on running your ads on mobile devices
which you should be.
that your ads are cropped in a way that is going to make sense on those mobile devices. Don't run ads with a horizontal video in somebody's Instagram feed. Crop it to a square or crop it vertically so that it takes up more space, more visual room in any Instagram or Facebook feed on somebody's phone that they might be scrolling through. So keep that in mind. Where are your ads going to be showing up? How are they going to be presented in the best way possible, just in terms of formatting? Something, again, that is really easily overlooked. Make sure if you're running ads to mobile, you're cropping them so that they make sense on mobile. The final thing that you really want to keep in mind when it comes to Facebook ad creative is always test more than one. Even on the same ad with the same targeting, change your creative, test different things. Just like every other element of Facebook ads, you don't want to put a ton of time and effort into creating one video ad and then say, all right, that's the one we're using. Test out 5, 6, 10 different options, and like everything else, let the data do the talking. Once your Facebook ads account has matured and you've spent a decent amount of money through it, it's been around for a couple months, it's not a brand new ad account, you're going to open up a couple different areas for specific split testing. We've talked about this in previous podcasts, but you're also going to have the option on any given ad to upload up to 5 different creative options for that ad. So not just 1, 5. And Facebook will then automatically optimize based off of who your ad is getting delivered to, which creative option they are going to show. So just like we've talked about doing this with copy in the past, if you have this option with your Facebook ads account, make sure that you are taking advantage of it and testing out those different creatives.
Yeah, this is something that isn't available on every Facebook ads account, so you'll have to see if it's available on yours. But if it is, this is a huge, huge value add that Facebook gives you essentially for free. So there's absolutely no reason you shouldn't be taking advantage of this. Facebook is going to auto-optimize and show the best performing ads to the people that it thinks will highest convert off of it. And this is a super easy way. If you can create 5 different ad creatives, you have a really, really good chance of seeing much better results, because chances are at least one of those 5 is going to perform far better than the others, and without this you would have no way of knowing. Now, the other thing you want to look out for when you're running an ad is the frequency. And what frequency refers to is how often someone has seen, on average, your advertisement. So, for example, a low frequency would be something like 1.06. That means that on average, people have seen it 1.06 times. And on the other hand, a high frequency would be something like 10. That means the average person has seen that ad 10 times. And if you only have one creative and you're seeing it, frequencies of 10 or more, that's not a good place to be, because that's going to mean is that people are seeing that exact same ad creative more than 10 times, and that's going to cause ad fatigue. So another big benefit of running multiple ads is that if your frequency is high, it's going to be far more likely that people are seeing multiple ads that are still from the same ad set, but multiple different creatives, and this is going to reduce ad fatigue and ensure that people aren't seeing the same thing over and over and over again.
This episode of Times Are Changing is brought to you by Golden Aspect, our company. We're a digital media and marketing agency that specializes in a one contact for everything social approach and completely integrated marketing campaigns.
We emphasize high touch, strong client relationships, and fully integrated marketing approaches. Each of our marketers are proficient in every service we offer and are reachable 7 days a week by text or call. This reliable communication and interaction with your business ensures your contact will be equipped to handle anything you need anytime you need it.
If you want to learn more about what Golden Aspect can do for your business or a friend's business, please feel free to check out our website, www.goldenaspect.com. That is www.goldenaspect.com.
1, 2.
In the world of Facebook ads, it's not uncommon for a certain ad set or a certain ad that was once performing beautifully, super profitably, to slowly or abruptly become unprofitable or inconsistent over time, especially with everything that's been going on during COVID. However, something to keep in mind: if you have a product that was doing well and consistently profitable before, chances are the demand for that product hasn't just completely disappeared. Maybe it has to do with the way you're targeting. Maybe it has to do with the fact that we're going through a worldwide pandemic right now. Chances are there is some reason why your ad set isn't performing the way that it was, but it doesn't mean that it's impossible to get it back to profitable. Like Chase was mentioning before the break, ad fatigue is a very real thing. And if you have ad sets that, especially ad sets that have been running for a long period of time, like multiple months, it's not uncommon for those to start to fall off and become inconsistent over an extended period of time. And one of the primary reasons for that has to do with the ad creative. So as step one, if you have any of these ad sets that used to be doing really well, now maybe they aren't, step one, always test a new creative. Test multiple new ad creatives. If your targeting was good back then, chances are it's still pretty good right now. You might just need to show them something different.
You should also definitely take note of the different audience sizes of these groups that you're targeting. If you're targeting an audience that's small, say in the realm of 50 to 100,000 people, and if you've run that ad for multiple months, you might be looking at really, really high frequencies. And at that point, you might be experiencing ad fatigue, not to mention that there's a pretty good chance everyone in that audience that has purchased your product or would be willing to purchase your product might already have. So it's very important to be aware as well about your audience size and how that plays in as well. Obviously, the ad creative is a great way to spice that up. Maybe people would be enticed to purchase your product if it's thrown at them in a different way, say with a new video or a new slideshow. That's at least one good way to see if you can pull out some extra purchases from a given audience. But obviously, if you're running the same ad creative in a small audience, people are going to remember those ads. And if they're not compelled the first time or the second time, or the third time, probably by the 10th time, you're going to be just sort of falling on deaf ears and people are going to scroll right past it. So an easy way to prevent this is to make sure that you're changing up your ad creatives, especially if you're seeing a drop off in performance on one of your ads. This is a great place to look. Obviously, it could have to do with a variety of other factors, but it's never a good idea to immediately rule out the ad creative as why something couldn't be working, because obviously the visual element of this is just so important, and it very likely is the root cause of a lot of your unprofitable ads.
If resources are limited for your business right now during COVID, we understand. We've been dealing with a lot of those similar things, but there are tools available to be creating multiple different ad creatives for any campaign that you want to run on a really low or shoestring budget. Take advantage of everything Facebook has to offer that we talked about in the first half of the podcast. A few minutes to create a new Facebook ad creative might be all your campaigns need to get back on that profitable level. It's really, really important to note that Facebook ads are not dead during coronavirus. In fact, it is anything but that situation. You have all of these people that are spending so much more time at home on their phones, on social media, using social media. These same people aren't allowed to go to the mall or go shopping in person in the way that they used to do things. The e-commerce market and online shopping has been growing immensely since March and quarantine first kicked off. It is really, really important to note that Facebook ads are not dead because of coronavirus. If anything, it is even more prevalent in everybody's everyday routine than they were before. You have swaths of people all over the country that are currently no longer allowed to shop in the way that they typically would in person, going to stores, going to the mall. In turn, you have people not able to work, sitting at home on their phones, spending way more time on social media. It is the perfect storm for e-commerce, and the market has been booming ever since COVID first hit the United States back in March.
Yeah, there's definitely been some sectors that have been hit really hard, and a lot of Facebook ads as well have been hit pretty hard. However, there are a lot of new markets now, and so it's really important to evaluate your business. If you're still in a position to be selling something, especially selling anything that can be sold online for delivery, for takeout, etc., there's usually an angle here for your business, and the best way you're going to get in front of people these days is through these social media ads. Everyone's on social media, but what's the most important part is that ad creative, because if you get in front of them, you need to make it compelling. They're getting hit with thousands of other ads every single day, and yours needs to stand out, and that's the importance of Facebook ad creatives. They need to be visually appealing, they need to be engaging, and they need to be persuasive, and that's how you're actually going to convert on your ad sets. You can have a really good audience and really good targeting, and if your ad creative is not on par, it's not going to lead to those conversions. It's not going to lead to that profitability that you could be seeing. And so if you're pretty confident about your audiences, if you're pretty confident about your targeting, then look again at your ad creatives and take some of the tips that we offered in this video. Make sure that you're following those to the best of your ability and creating the best possible ad creatives that you can, and creating multiple, because obviously you can't know which one is going to perform best, but there's a good chance that your Facebook ad creative has something to do with the profitability of your ads. And so if you're not seeing the results that you want to be seeing, I highly recommend you take a look again and try out some new ones and see what kind of results you see from there.
Like we always say when it comes to Facebook ads, let the data do the talking. Don't be afraid to try out some different angles. A lot of stuff is changing now because of COVID, especially in the online shopping world. Test a bunch of different things, use the tools that we provided for you here and that Facebook provides, and wait and see what actually works. A lot of times, like we say with Facebook ads, the things that are actually profitable are things that we never would have ever expected.
And make sure that you spend enough money on each ad creative as well, because you need to spend, depending on what product it is, enough to get to at least that level of what you'd want your cost per purchase to be before you're turning off ad sets. So if you're selling something and you want your cost per purchase to be $20, don't turn off your ad creative after it's spent $2 if it doesn't perform how you want. Make sure you're spending at least enough to prove out whether it's successful or not before you turn it off. Make sure to give each ad creative a fair shot, and that's the only way you're going to be sure about the success of each one.
The market for e-commerce is only growing, so make sure that you're in a position to take advantage of it. That is about where we're going to wrap things up for this week. Make sure you follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. We upload weekly episodes every Tuesday. If you're interested in reading our newsletter, please visit our website at goldenaspect.com/timesarechanting. Once again, that is goldenaspect.com/timesarechanting. Thank you all so much for listening to this edition of the Times Are Changing podcast, and we will see you all next week. If you enjoyed listening to this week's podcast, please check us out on social media, Instagram at Golden Aspect Media. If you want to learn more about what our company can do for your business, please check out our website, www.goldenaspect.com. We offer everything from content creation, social media account management, to digital ad marketing campaigns.
Look, if you made it this far, you're obviously interested in this stuff. And are you doing it? Is your company doing it? If you're not, you really should be, because you're missing out, and we're here to help. So send us a message, send us an email, give us a call. We'll be here, ready to help. Take care.